And we're alive.
All right.
Nothing can stop us. Maybe it was some sensor chip or something.
Yes.
So, Terry Butler, famous bass player for Death, 6 Feet Under, Obituary, Massacre. Can you tell us a little how you start, like when you first start to play any instrument? Like, I don't know.
Well, I always wanted to play guitar. Actually, I was a big fan of Kiss when I was younger, and
So was
I
Kiss
sort of
that drag you a little bit to rock and metal?
yeah. I had my father and my uncle, his brother, were really into music a lot, so I got an early dose of Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Leonard Skinner when I was 10. And that turned me on, and Kiss too. So I just remember jumping up and down playing a tennis racket, pretending like I was Ace Frehley. So I always wanted to play music, but I really never had the opportunity. I just bought a bass one day when I was like 17, I think, and my friend Bill Andrews had already started. He was already playing drums and formed the band Massacre, and I was always at his house watching the band practice and play. Long story short, they kicked out the bass player, and I joined, and that started my journey. That's still going.
That's
So I've
crazy.
been in some fortunate bands. So.
So your first band was Massacre?
Yep.
That's crazy.
I didn't even have the chance to be like in a cover band or anything like that.
That's
I
great.
just went right into a band. So
No, but that's better.
yeah, just right into Massacre for about 6 months, maybe 8 months, and then me, Bill Andrews, and Rick Ross joined Death, and Rick had already been in Death before.
But how was that leap from Kiss to Death? It's like
Well,
kind
at
of
that time,
extreme.
it wasn't much of a problem because I mean, I had bought the Mantis demo. I was totally familiar with Death's material, Scream Brother Gore. We were all familiar with all that, and
Yeah, but what I
so
mean is that it's kind of more extreme music than Kiss.
oh well, at 10, listening to Kiss and Deep Purple and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, was popular, but it was still not like commercial.
Sure.
But when I got a little older, it's like then I discovered, um, Raven, Venom, um, Priest, Iron Maiden. So you start getting into the heavier stuff, the darker stuff.
Mm.
And it's a natural progression. You want to um, keep going. What else is there? And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, there's Hellhammer, there's Slayer, there's Possessed, Archangel. So it's just an evolution of getting heavier and heavier.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think with Massacre and Death it was like, I don't know, you at that time you can get more heavy.
No, that was the forefront of the extreme. I mean, there wasn't, you know, you didn't have the brutal blast beat stuff going on quite
Yes.
yet. It's just started going.
Mm.
A lot of that was taken from like some of the punk stuff, DRI and stuff with their fast, beats and stuff. But
Yeah.
it worked its way into metal, and Massacre were a little more a blend of like thrash and death a little bit, and death or just more death metal, and but it was an easy transition when we joined
Do
death.
you think that Death can be considered like the, I don't know, good fathers of death metal? Or
Well, they definitely had a big hand in it. I mean, there was a few other bands at the same time kind of getting going. I mean, Possessed, they already had a record going. Was it like 85, I think? Seven Churches, somewhere around there. So, and there were some other bands with some demos out at the time. But I mean, Death definitely took the death metal torch early on, and carried it. Because Possessed kind of fizzled out by into the 80s, and Death kept going. So
Yeah.
But they're
Oh,
definitely. I mean, people say Chuck's a grandfather of death metal. Fair enough, but there were some other people around at the time too.
sure.
They just didn't last as long and whatever. But
Mm. I can you remember any of that bands that kind of helped to form that style that never get noticed?
a band from back then that helped form, but that didn't take off, or
Yeah, that helped to create this kind of death metal thing, but they will never blow up.
well, I mean, there's a bunch that never from early on that may have never really blown up and taken off. Um, you know, I'm just trying to remember back to the demos that I had at the time.
Yeah, I'm
But I
sure
mean,
it's a very long time.
yeah, I mean, maybe not so much in 85, 86, but you had a bunch of bands, a bunch of kind of demo bands early on,
Sure.
Necrovore and Revenant, which, and these kind of bands that put out excellent stuff, but it never really got them
Mm,
up to the status of, say, like a Death or anything like that.
sure. Because I think these days there are people that collect that kind of stuff, like
Oh, of
really,
course.
yeah, like the
Yeah,
really underground that never get noticed, but help to create
there's
that
a there's a
that
ton of
sound.
bands like that were great that in their area they played a lot and they put out some great demos and stuff, but it,
Mm,
it never took off into the you know
mm.
rest of the country or the rest of the world.
And what do you think that makes death so different or unique around that time? Was the way that Chuck sings, or the technical stuff?
Well, I think it's a combination. To me, there's three phases of Death. To me, you got the demo stage, which is totally raw. Then you got the middle stage, which is like from Scream by the Gore to spiritual, and then after that, you got your so-called technical whatever version of Death. Um, I just think early on, what was the demos, what caught people was just how raw, and Chuck's vocals obviously were great, and the actual songs were killer. That's forte. Chuck was really proud that of his song structuring, writing a song that
Mm,
was catchy and it sounded like everything had a purpose in the song.
mm,
It wasn't just a bunch of riffs thrown together to try to be technical. And trying to be technical was never really even a part of it early on. It was just brutality. It
yeah.
wasn't around until Leprosy going into spiritual that it was like more of a let's try and be a little different, a little more technical.
Mm,
And even at that point, it wasn't even that much of a thought process. I mean, we were listening to Watchtower a lot early on. We always did, and bands like that, a lot of the French heavy metal, um, like Sortilege, Satan Jokers, and stuff. But it was an evolution naturally. But early on, I think what caught people was just the brutality of it.
mm. Yeah, for sure. I was always impressed when he was playing so complex riff. At the same time, he was singing. For me, that was
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some people have to actually write for that. Like, you have to write certain rhythms that you can sing over, and some people can just sing out over it with ease. But yeah,
yeah,
it's not
no.
it's not a common thing for a lot of people to do, to sing and play guitar. So
Mm. So how was it today when, because you were at the beginning when this thing were start to blow up, and like you say, people are, well, not everyone, but some people are asking for something more aggressive, more faster. And so how were these days? There was a lot of experimentation. There was, like, I don't know, like a challenge to, we want to be faster than this other band, or more heavy than this other band.
sure, that
The,
in the early days, that everyone was probably like that because it was so new. You
sure.
know, in 85, 86, even metal in general was still kind of a new thing. Not let alone death metal, but it was always like, hey, listen to this demo from this band. Wow, and then you try and top that in your band. It's like, let's be the fastest band we can, the most extreme band we can. And that still spilled over into blast beats, grindcore, crust, all this stuff. It's just how extreme can we be?
Yeah.
That's just a natural thing. And then sometimes when you get a little older, it's like, okay,
Sure.
I've already been as extreme as I can be. Now let me just write something that's whatever sounds catchy and good or whatever. I mean, some bands,
Yeah, of course.
if you want to say they slow down or they change or whatever, but I look at it like more they kind of just ease into
Mm,
an area that that they feel good with, and they can always go
yeah.
back and play those classic songs.
Yeah. But for example, around that time, for example, Metallica was like peers, or was no, these guys are too soft.
No, the first couple records, Kill 'Em All, obviously. You know, we I think everyone in metal now should thank Metallica for putting that record out, even
Mm,
Ride the Lightning, because they were like the torchbearer for metal. Like,
yeah.
they're Metallica, they are metal, and everything kind of fell out underneath that.
Mm,
12-year-old kids that loved Kill 'Em All ended up 10, 20 years later being in a band super popular, aggressive and brutally extreme. But you got to start somewhere. I mean, you don't come out of the womb listening to
sure.
Dying.
Mm,
You have to get to a point where you discover a band or a genre of music.
mm. And around that time, you were kind of curious to get some new music, maybe from Europe or
Always,
from a.
Tampa, this area, Central Florida, was always great for discovering new music. I mean, we had a friend that worked at a record store,
Mm,
and back in 82, 83, 84, he would tell us, I'm getting this new record. We're getting the new Motorhead's coming out. This band COC, you should check them out. Their first record, So we always had new music coming in all the time, and we
yeah.
were always checking it out always.
No, that's great because I think it helps you to get inspired, and sometimes it helps you expand your boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, there was no internet, so it's not like, hey, let's
Exactly.
go on YouTube and check out a teaser of this new album. No, it was
Yeah.
word of mouth. You had word of mouth, tape trading, or just in some magazine.
Tape.
That was
Can
it.
can you tell people what was tape trading? Because the younger generation, they don't know what what that even means.
Well, I mean,
But for me, it was beautiful.
yeah, you'd put an ad out in a fanzine, or maybe word got out that you had a bunch of demo tapes, and you had an address. You'd write the person, hey, um, I have for instance, I have the new Holy Terror demo. I see that you have a Hellhammer demo. Would you like to trade? So they'd say sure. So you would make a copy of that demo, send it to a guy,
Sure.
and he'd make a copy of the demo you wanted, and it would send it to you. Just traded tapes back and forth with people. And like I
Yeah.
said, sometimes people put ads out in little fanzines. Sometimes at a record store, you'd put a little flyer up. I got tapes to trade, blah blah. Or it shows, you would know people and network that way.
Yeah. Was like the
That was kind
beginning.
of that was the only way, really, unless you went to a record store. I mean, I bought a lot of records back in the day by just simply looking at the album cover
Hmm.
and looking at it and going, wow, this looks pretty cool, so let me buy it. You took a chance, so
Yes. Yeah, of course. No, I remember these days. I don't know what your age, but I'm 43.
yeah,
So I lived kind of that time that was really hard to get new music, and was like a discovery, like find a new band that was cool
yeah,
and everything. But
yeah,
I don't know, was beautiful. Was the beginning of Facebook for me, trading tapes, all of
yeah.
that. So after that, what were what you did then? What after that?
Well, after death, after the last spiritual healing tour that I did in Europe in 1990, right towards the end of that tour, death. We left death. I mean, we left Massacre, went to death. And while we're in Death, we heard word that Rick and Cam started up Massacre again, which it was Bill's band. Bill started the band. So we were like, okay, well, this seems kind of weird. So we called them up and said, hey, we're not in Death anymore. We're coming home in a few days. Let's just get Massacre back together. Me, Bill, you, and Rick and Cam, and let's get this going. And there was interest from Earache Records to sign the band, and Earache signed us, and we put out From Beyond, and we put out that EP. We toured Europe twice, toured America once. It was great. The album did well. People loved it, and everything on the album was stuff from 1986 demos that we put out in
Really?
1991. Yeah, it was all the old early demos because we're like, let's just put a record out first. Let's get the demos, all those songs already written. Let's just throw it on vinyl and record them, and then go from there, write a new record. But that record took off and people really loved it. So we did 3 tours from it, and things fell apart. That's the way it is with Massacre. It's like it can only last a couple of years at the most at a time, and it just falls apart. I don't want to get deep into details and elaborate because it's all out there, and you can Google whatever you want about Massacre's history. But it's always destined to fail for certain reasons. And
yeah. No, but for me,
beyond it and in human condition out of it, which was cool.
no, but for me, playing a band is always a challenge. Now it's like a relationship. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. If you got 1 or 2 people in a band that are kind of toxic and always undermining things, it's never going to work. But that's what's so great about Obituary. We're all brothers. John, Donald, and Trevor have been together since they were like 13 and 14 years old, and they are brothers, and it's strong foundation. Ken is amazing guitar player in person, and we all get along so great.
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
A lot of bands have internal turmoil. You just don't know about it because they don't make it public, and that's the way it should be in my eyes.
Yeah. No, for me it was great when, well, I don't know what you think about it, when Metallica released their kind of documentary, Some Kind of Monster.
Yes, I refuse to watch that. I can't wrap my brain around someone money is just getting thrown around and tossed and wasted so much on ridiculous crap. I can't even relate to it. So I have never watched that movie.
Sure. No, but I think that helped people to kind of demystify that kind of image that a band, they're all friends. They're all get along together and they go to... no, sometimes the show is over and good night.
Yeah, a lot of times that's the way it is. I mean, it's a business, and it's like, I only need to see you on stage for an hour and a half every night, and besides that hour and a half, I'm at my hotel or in my bus. And it works, and they make it work, and the band just keep going. But there are a lot of bands that are friends, and they all hang out together and do stuff together as a unit. And it's where we're that way. I mean, sure, there's times when people get on your nerves and you don't want to be around, and you just have to go off and do something or whatever. But I mean, it's just like a business,
Sure.
And it's, or a sports team. Say a team is a champion. They won the cup. They won a championship. Well, not everyone on that team are friends, but they make it work when it's time to on the field.
Sure.
Because a lot of times it's singers. Singers to me, a lot of times are they get that rock star image, and they or a guitar player, and they pretty much ruin a lot of bands because of that.
Yeah.
Because they just can't be humble, But fortunately, the situation I'm in now is great.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's like find the perfect girlfriend.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. No, but I think also it's kind of hard to deal sometimes with when you're getting famous, when you are famous, and especially if you have some insecurities on your own.
Absolutely. Fame will ruin someone. It'll turn them into someone they are not. You
Yeah.
know, you can be in a band, for instance, and grow up with someone from childhood. You get famous and start selling millions of records, or you just get some fame. Doesn't even have to be millions of records. It could just be famous in the underground,
Mm.
and you start getting a little attitude. You start getting full of yourself, and you forget where
Yeah.
you came from. You forget your roots. You
Yeah.
forget who you are and where you came from. You know.
Mm. No,
Yeah.
that's yeah, I think that's really important to remember when you came from. But
Yes.
but I have luck I have been lucky enough that meet some of my musical heroes. They're
Hmm.
all, like you, really cool guys,
Yeah.
but sometimes you meet some people, and sometimes it's not
It's
like that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a roll of the dice because you can meet one of your idols and maybe he got some bad news from home. Maybe
Yeah,
he's not feeling well,
yeah,
he
exactly.
or she, and at the wrong time you might say hello or something and they might snap at you or something and all of a
Yeah,
sudden that person's an asshole. But
yeah.
most of the
It
time,
it
most of the
happened to.
time your
Mm,
reputation will precede you. You know,
yeah.
without calling out names, we know certain people in the industry,
Mm.
death metal, heavy metal, speed metal, whatever, speed metal. How old do I sound when I say that? But but they reputation precedes them. They are assholes and they're always going to be assholes. But
Mm,
sometimes someone might get in a, meet your idol and they just didn't have a good day and they kind of snap
mm.
at you. But you always have to keep that in mind too when you're
Sure.
meeting people and everything. This person paid money to come see you. They bought
Mm,
your merchandise. If it wasn't for these fans, you would be nothing. So you better
sure.
treat them not. You better treat them nice.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
think they have to be an understanding from both sides, because, like you
yeah,
were saying, sometimes an artist could be really cool, but I don't know, he just get dumped by their girlfriend, or
yeah.
his father is dying. So fuck, I don't have time
Exactly.
to sign this
I know. I
this
mean, my
autograph.
wife tells my wife tells me sometimes, "You're really grouchy today." So I mean, if my wife's telling me that, imagine if I'm grouchy towards some fans. They're gonna be like, "Holy shit, this guy's an
There are some
asshole."
people flying.
you know. So
No, of course. No, but that's cool. But it's part of the music business, I think. It's
yeah,
part of the everything.
yeah,
And so, you start Massacre, then, well, it didn't work
yeah.
out. And then,
Massacre, death, then back to Massacre, and then fortunately, shortly after Massacre ended in the early '90s, I joined 6 Feet Under. Kind of right at the beginning, right before Haunted came out. We were still writing the music,
yeah,
and I rode that out. Lasted in that until 2011, February of 2011. But I had been helping Obituary in 2010, so I was already helping them out. So when I quit 6 Feet Under,
helping them in what way?
um, Frank, the bass player before me, he was released from the band in I think like January 2010. So they didn't have a bass player, and I'm good friends
Mm.
with him from way back. Anyhow, so they had called me up and said, "We got some tours lined up. Would you like to fill in on bass?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So I started helping Obituary in 2010. I joined them full time in 2011. Right,
And you
kind
were
of.
you were a fan?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they're from my hometown. I know all of, we grew up together, so
Mm.
definitely. So it was an easy transition, sliding into Obituary from 6 Feet Under. So,
Yeah,
but I was in 6 Feet Under for I think 16 years, long time.
that's crazy. And how was that time?
That was cool. I mean, we did a lot of cool things, and you
Because
know,
that was really heavy stuff. Was
everything's
even
not per.
heavier. Was
Yeah.
even heavier than Death and Massacre for me.
Well, it was, early on, it was like if you listen to Haunted and Maximum Violence, that's kind of what 6 Feet Under, the blueprint for 6 Feet Under was, dark, kind of groovy death metal. And it kind of got away from that and started evolving. I mean, around the time of after Maximum Violence, kind of every album kind of changed format a little bit. But I had a lot of good times in the band. We did some good stuff, and you know, it was just time to move on. And luckily, my feet landed perfect. I landed right in Obituary, and
That's
couldn't be
crazy.
better. Yeah.
So you never stop.
No.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you were a fan of Obituary before?
Yeah. Absolutely. I remember when they're as Executioner. Obviously that's when I first knew them. When they first put that single out. You know, and absolutely.
Yeah, because I think Obituary also was a kind of like a very have a very unique sound. I don't know, especially well, maybe it's the vocals. Uh,
They
uh,
Yeah, John has one of the best vocals in death metal, one of the most unique. When you hear him, you automatically know what band
yeah.
it is. Almost the same with Trevor's guitar tone and the style he writes. It's like when you hear a couple chords, a couple riffs, you like, that's Obituary. And
Mm,
that's cool because that's a signature sound that they have had from early on. And I think that's one of the reasons we're still relevant all these years later. You know,
of course.
the dedication of the band members to put out good music, and the fans that remember all the killer songs, and we still put out
Mm,
good records. And yeah,
yeah, I
it's
was
fun.
watching when you were offline. I just play a little extract of Hellfest
Yeah,
when you guys played it. How was that experience playing in that French
uh,
festival?
Hellfest is probably the best festival. I love it. I love the whole layout of it, the format of it. It's a great festival. You get treated nice. The fans are awesome. It's a great time. Plus you get to hang out with all the other bands, and it's a great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's one of it's, I don't know because it's French people that do it. Because for me, kind of like French culture is like the attention to detail and everything, like in
Yeah.
food.
No, it shows at the festival. I mean, I've played Hellfest probably 7 times, and
Mm,
it's amazing each time.
mm.
Yeah.
No, it's great. The spirit, the visuals, the yeah, it was not easy at the beginning. They lost a lot of
Oh
money.
yeah.
They had some huge debt, but
A lot of
now,
festivals. Yeah. You have
now,
to. Yeah.
yeah, now it's crazy because they released the band that we're gonna play,
Hmm.
and they activate the ticket for sale, and it's gone like in 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, I know. It's amazing. Every time I look at the lineup for Hellfest, I'm like, oh my God, how can? I mean,
How can they
every
pull it
band,
off?
every band in the world is playing this. It's amazing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's incredible.
There's another French festival, but I don't know. You know it, Motoculture.
Yep, I've played there 2 or 3 times.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I like
So,
it.
well, it's more like a little smaller, but it's the
Yeah,
same spirit. You
no,
know,
that's fine. I like the
French.
smaller.
Yeah, French. Do you have any? Do you see any difference between the French fans and I don't know fans from North America, or it's kind of the
Well,
same?
it's pretty similar, but I mean, the European fans are absolutely amazing. I mean,
Mm,
it's like they they live the music. It's part of their life. In
mm,
America, sometimes it's more like, I mean, the fans that like death metal and extreme music, they're always there. You got your hardcore fans.
mm.
But America is all about fashion and stupid music that's put on the radio constantly. You're force fed this music, whatever. But it doesn't seem like it's that way in Europe too much.
Mm.
A lot more open minded, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. For me, they cannot really appreciate when you guys from the United States came to play their festivals. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like,
I
yeah,
mean,
no, no,
it's taken off because when I first started touring Europe, like in '89, there were a handful of festivals,
sure,
But now it's like
that is crazy.
there's like 150 festivals everywhere. It's like insane.
Yeah,
But yeah,
well, except this year,
what's that?
except, except this
Oh, I
year,
know
like,
it's terrible. We had so many shows lined up to play this year, so many tours and
mm,
festivals, and it just all stopped in March, and it's terrible. I'm
no,
hoping. I mean, everything's rescheduled for 2021, but
sure,
hopefully someone finds a vaccine or something that we can get bands out on the road again.
yeah, no,
It's
it's
it's hitting
crazy.
everyone. It's not only the band suffering, you got your crew, road crew, the bus companies people rent, the venues people play at. It's
Yeah,
all just shut down.
yeah, there's some many people affected by this.
Yeah,
Oh, it's crazy. And well, for sure, no one was expecting this. So
no,
there's no,
you can't plan for it. No one knew it was
no,
coming. You
yeah,
got blindsided by it.
sure. And yeah, it was kind of weird because when it started, was like, yeah, okay, something like the flu. So
Yeah,
no one take it so seriously. And then, well, it started to spread. But like,
yeah.
yeah,
We kept getting all kinds of reports. Yeah, it's just like a flu, this and that. Before you know it, you should wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Don't touch anything. It's like they kept telling you different reports for because.
yeah, no, it's
But
crazy. And every country have different
yeah,
measures and politics.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it's a weird year. Let's say it like that.
yeah. 2020 has not been kind. You know.
Yeah, but what are you guys doing at the moment? You are writing music,
Yeah, we
planning.
there are some new songs in the works. A bunch of rhythms are being thrown around.
Mm,
So the plan is to have a new record out in 2021 at some point.
mm,
Hopefully in the kind of in the early part of the year.
mm. Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
we got a bunch of shows lined up for next year, and we're going to try and do one of these kind of live stream things.
Mm.
But
No, but it seems it's working. It's working well. For me,
yeah,
it depends how you do it. There's a company called Single Music, I think. They
yeah,
kind of they use a platform called Shopify
hmm
that is usually you use it for make sell t-shirts and
yeah,
merch, and but they add a solution that people can buy, for example, a ticket for your live stream on top of an album, on top of a t-shirt,
yeah,
so make a feeling a more I, it make tangible,
yeah. We're
something.
gonna we're gonna do something. I can't reveal it right now, but we got
No, no,
something,
no, but
and it'll be put out all over the social media sites, so
yeah,
people will
no,
know
that's
about it.
cool.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do something.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool because, well, in the meantime, is so people want to see you guys live, and also you guys, I think you want to play too,
Yeah,
and yeah, no, I think if you give the option to the fans to pay
yeah,
for a live stream, and yeah,
yeah,
of course, no, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Hopefully it works out. So,
Yeah. So, how is the situation in America during these crazy times?
well, COVID wise, I mean, you got people that refuse to wear their masks because they think it's a government scam.
Sure.
You got, you know, but for the most part, I think most people are trying to be safe,
Mm,
but it sucks because a lot of jobs are lost. You can't
yeah.
really do your job. You can't work. The economy seems to be holding in there. But,
Mm,
I just hope this clears up soon so we can get back to a normal life.
mm,
Plus, I mean, I'm not a real political person, so I don't really like to talk about politics. But it's an election year this year, so it's crazy, you know.
mm.
Uh, and it just feels like the country is getting
It's-
more and more divided. So I hope we can just make it out of this year into next year
mm. Where's the election?
without the country burning down. Yeah, this
What?
year is an election year, so
When is the election? In
it's
what
in
month?
November, I believe. Yeah,
Okay. So do you think that in America people are starting to kind of take sides more? They, because
oh,
there's always the Democrat and the
yeah,
Republicans,
they're
but
taking sides definitely. I mean, the country has never been more divided than it is now.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
but
but well, I hope people can find a way to talk each other because
yeah,
yeah, I think it's I don't know, I'm a fan of communication, you know, that
yeah,
talk to each other. You can just say that you have the absolute truth, and all the other people in this side are wrong. It's,
yeah. It's become a cancel culture. They call it. If you say one word wrong, especially on the social media,
mm,
all of a sudden you get thousands of trolls attacking you and trying to shut you down. And
sure.
it's that way if you own a restaurant and you support something, all of a sudden, Antifa's showing up at your door, kicking your door
Mm,
down, trying to burn your business down because you believe in something different than they do. And
yeah,
it's
I
horrible.
saw I saw a video recently when there was kind of a Black Lives Matters manifestation, and there was some people outside of a restaurant, and there
Yeah,
was a lady that didn't want to raise their
yeah,
arm,
yeah.
so they take it like an aggression, like
Of course.
you don't want to support this, you know.
No. And they should respect that. First of all, they shouldn't be coming into restaurants doing that. You know,
Mm,
Eh, you shouldn't be getting in people's faces when they're trying to eat.
yeah,
If they
for
don't believe in
me,
what you believe in, then they don't believe in it. Leave them
yeah,
alone.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, of course, and but the thing is that there's many young they are really young,
that's the
so
problem.
they
They're
think
all,
that
yeah, they're all 15-year-olds.
they discover something, like
Yeah,
i I don't know, they feel really empowered but a little bit too much, you know.
yeah,
So yeah, no, for me the best way is yeah, okay, you have an idea that you want to transmit, okay, but you need to respect the people that
yeah.
agree with you, you know.
That's the problem. They don't respect. They
Sure.
want to try and violently force you to choose their side.
Yeah. No, for me, communication is the more important,
Yeah,
especially these days. But I think also all this kind of you know the the tension, is in the air. With the lockdown, with the mask. There's a lot of people that are like 1 second to get their get lose their shit. You know.
yeah, yeah.
So I think well. But well, I think you told me you have an interview kind of
Yeah, I got
soon.
another one here in a little bit.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
so if you want to say something like, I don't know, about your band, about or a message maybe to young people
Uh,
to don't be stupid.
I just would like to say for everyone to be safe out in the world. It's crazy right now, and just be safe and be cool. That's the main thing. Just be cool.
Yeah.
And I thank all the fans of the bands I've been in, fans of myself. Thanks for all support, the continued support, and hopefully 2021, Obituary is going to get out there and tour all over the place and do all kinds of cool stuff. And look out for our new record, and hope to roll through your town at some point.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
thank you for the interview.
No, thanks to you. It was a real honor. Take care, and yeah, let's go for the best, and I will see you another time.
All right, thank you.